special video. It's a mic review, and I want to give a special thanks to the fine people at Samson Technologies for sending this microphone over. It is not just any microphone review though. This is an ASMR kit that Samson is thinking of selling, and they reached out to me to ask if I wanted to demo it. So that's what this video is about. I'm going to be unboxing and demoing Samson's upcoming, probably, ASMR kit. You guys, any fellow ASMR artists in the comments, can let me know if you have any feedback that could improve this kit, and I'll be sure to let my contact there know, because they want feedback on this. The beginning part of this video, the unboxing, will be on my Blue Yeti, but then I'll be switching over to the Samson microphone for the remainder of the video after that. So let's go through all the parts that they sent me. Starting with the boring part, the desktop microphone stand. This is an important part of any ASMR kit, I would think. I would say the two gold standards, for the most part, for ASMR are the Blue Yeti and the 3DO, and both of those have some sort of stand, I believe. The Blue Yeti certainly does. I know that because I have it. So it makes sense that Samson would include a stand. So this is very heavy, it feels like a weight, and it just sits on your desktop, and then the mic screws in. Let's go ahead and open this. Wow, okay. So we have this very heavy metal disc. And that makes some good ASMR. Those are some good tapping sounds. It has some padding on the bottom so it doesn't rub up your desk, of course, because this is very rough metal, as you can imagine. But yeah, that'll keep it nice and secure. It's not going anywhere. And then this is the stand for it. SamsonTech.com. So let's go ahead and screw this in right now. Alright, we've got piece number one, the stand. The next piece is actually pretty cool, something I don't actually own. It is a shock mount. This is their SP01 condenser microphone shock mount. Spider style. Provides enhanced isolation. Fits all standard mic stands. got some nice rubber bands basically here. That helps absorb shocks. Wow. Very nice. So, are there any instructions included? Alright, no instructions. I guess we're on our own. So the microphone is the Samson CL8a condenser microphone. It's got a lot of the same modes that you might recognize if you have used a Blue Yeti. So we're going to put them to the test. There we go. This does have an owner's manual. Alright, here is the microphone. Very nice looking. And got this little ring. And as any good microphone should come with a leather bag with the Samson logo on it. So I'm going to see if the instructions here give me anything about installing the shock mount. But, oh, there we go. Okay. For additional isolation, the CL8a can be fitted on the optional SP01 Spider shock mount to isolate the microphone from vibrations and mechanical noises transmitted through the mic stand. Follow the steps below to mount the CL8a to the SP01. Attach the SP01 to a mic stand by screwing the shock mount onto the stand. Well, so this actually shows it aiming down like this. Let's take our mic stand. This will mount on the microphone. That's what we need to install. We won't be needing that anymore. Oh, I understand. This goes into the mic stand like so. Then, maybe I don't understand. Oh, is that just in there? Oh, okay, this screws in. Maybe. I'm just spinning eternally. I mean, it's in there, I guess. I feel like I'm missing something now. Oh, it says to move the wheel. Okay, and this does attach like this, it looks like. Okay, so I've come this far, and I've been racking my brain trying to figure this out. I'll show you on this. This thread here is too big or too small for the thread here. And I think what's happening is that there's two threadings in here, and I need to get the other one, which I'm going to need to screwdriver for. So I'm gonna go get a screwdriver and see if I'm right about that. Okay, we got our screwdriver. Let's see if this works how I think it does, if my screwdriver is even wide enough. Which it's not. Okay, but I managed to get it anyways. It looks like I was right. There we go. So my first piece of advice to Samson and to anyone who gets this, maybe I'm just dumb, but this was not intuitive. This is a very cool design, but since the stand and the shock mount did not come with instructions, it was not apparent. There we go. Yeah, I don't think the instructions mentioned this at all. Oh, never mind. It does. It doesn't mention to use a screwdriver or anything like that to get it out, though, but it does mention that it exists. So let's go ahead and get this mounted. Would have been easier if I had not screwed on the pole already. Actually, I think I'm gonna have to undo it to even get this. So, screw in the pole here. And then, well, this is also difficult. Let's tighten this. Yeah, there's no good way to attach this. This is not the most graceful. But I guess it's working. Okay, there we have it, I guess. It's a little weird. I guess this is the right way. And I guess this is in the mount. It seems to be. So, the first thing that I would like to mention that is a downside to this, and why I already know that I will not be using this as my daily ASMR microphone, is because of this XLR connection. The entire reason that I bought a Blue Yeti was because it is a USB microphone. I was using an XLR microphone before this, my SM57 Shure microphone, and thankfully I own a soundboard that has an XLR connection, or I wouldn't even be able to test this. So, I don't know. At this point, I can't recommend this to a beginner ASMR artist that doesn't already have audio equipment, because there's no way you already have an XLR cable and a mixing board. So, that's my first big complaint. That being said, I'm still going to test this microphone. It's just going to be a little bit harder, so let's go and get into the sound review now. Alright everyone, I'm back, and now you're listening to the Samson microphone. It's been a second for you, but for me it's been, over 30 minutes of trying to set this thing up. I dug out my mixing board, a 4-channel Behringer mixing board. It's the Behringer Xenix 802. I had to remember what issues it had. Channel 1, the XLR cable port, is a little shaky, so I had to switch to port 2, but only after not remembering that it didn't really work. And then adjusting the volume and stuff like that. I had to get the XLR cable from this microphone into the board, and then I have my headphones coming out of the board so I can hear myself, which is nice. And then I've got a stereo splitter with a cable attached to it, 3.5-inch jack going into my laptop. My new laptop I just got yesterday, for some reason, didn't register that I'd plugged in an audio device, so I had to go dig out my old laptop and then use that. So we finally got it set up. And so far so good. This sounds good. So far no complaints. I'm going to do a few trigger tests with it, but first we're going to look at the manual to see what some of the different modes are, because it actually has several different modes. Oh, those page turning sounds do sound good though. Alright, so here's actually some important information that's good to know, because you'll need a mixing board. You also need phantom power, which this mixing board has, and I think most boards do have. So, the CL8a is a condenser microphone, and therefore requires 48-volt phantom power. Phantom power is provided by a mixer's pre-amplifier channel, or if necessary, an external phantom power supply, and sent to the microphone along a balanced microphone cable. To ensure the longevity of your equipment, and as good mixing etiquette, always turn down the master fader and monitor controls to 0 when switching the phantom power on or off. Poor microphone performance can be attributed to phantom power issues. If you notice that the microphone is exhibiting reduced signal output, increased noise, or decreased headroom, there may be an issue with the phantom power supply or the microphone cables. Setting the signal level. When connecting the CL8a to a mixer or audio interface, be sure the input is of microphone level, and be sure that the phantom power is engaged as explained in the previous sections. Now, speaking of which, the Blue Yeti picks up every sound you could possibly imagine. This microphone, I have my channel levels and my main mix levels not to maximum, but pretty loud, and I'm getting a pretty small waveform in my recording software. The Blue Yeti picks up much more sound, so I will say that. But that could also be a product of my mixer, and it probably depends on your mixer. But even then, this is plenty of sound. I think this is perfectly fine. Most mixers and interfaces will offer a microphone input with mic trim control. The purpose of the mic trim control is to optimize the amount of good signal to any noise associated with the mixture's electronics. Okay, so that's all good. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is this thing right here. I think you can see it on this camera. Yeah, so there's a little button right here. I almost yanked my headphones out, so I'm going to put my mixing board closer. Okay, so it includes a 10 decibel attenuation pad that can be selected with the slide switch located below the grill. It lowers the input sensitivity and is used to prevent overloading the onboard amplifier. Setting the switch to 0, the control is bypassed and there is no effect on the signal. When the switch is set to the -10 position, the input sensitivity of the microphone will be lowered by 10 decibels. This is useful in close miking loud sound sources with very high transient sounds, such as drums, cymbals, or brass instruments. So I have this set to 0, because when I set it to 10, it pretty much was barely picking anything up. Now we're going to talk about this button on this side, which has a little jagged line and then a straight line. I have it on the jagged line right now, so let's learn more about that. This is the high-pass filter, which you can use to eliminate any unwanted low-frequency content. When the high-pass filter is set to the flat, there is no effect on the signal. When the high-pass switch is set to the roll-off position, a 12 decibel per octave low cut and 100 hertz is applied to the signal. Okay, I actually don't care about that, so I'm gonna turn the volume down and then I'm gonna switch it. Okay. I don't know if you guys can notice a difference. Ooh, I think I actually do. Actually, this is picking up a lot more of the bass sounds now. So if your recording has a lot of rumbling bass in it and you don't want that, this is one good way to get rid of that without waiting until editing to do it. I'm going to keep this right now just to show you the full range of the microphone though. Okay, so that's good. And then the last bit is the button on the back, which is, if you're familiar with the Blue Yeti, is the different polarizations. So the first one, I hear my cat walking around. What are you doing? The first one is omnidirectional, reproduces sound from all directions, with an even frequency response, which makes it resistant to the phenomenon known as proximity effect. And there's unidirectional, which is cardioid. Hey, cat. You can't be here. Not allowed. So cardioid is the most widely used for studio and live miking applications. It captures sound in front of the microphone and rejects sound from the sides and back. And then bidirectional captures sounds in the front and the back. For ASMR, we're probably not going to use that. We could turn it sideways and try that for binaural. That would be interesting. Does it actually show me which is which? Yeah. Okay, so right now we're actually on cardioid, which I think is where we want to be, right? Yeah, it only captures sound in front. So right now that's what we want. We'll try moving it though, so you can see the difference. So here is omnidirectional. You can hear me on all sides. And then this is bidirectional, which, let me try spinning this around and see if we can get binaural audio. Okay, so, okay, I don't really like this because now the front is not being picked up, but we have very good left and right, but nothing in the center. But now if we switch to omnidirectional, it really doesn't matter. So yeah, there's no real, not binaural in the way that we would want it. So I'm going to stick to cardioid. I think that is the best use case for this. Binaural looks like it's going to be a little harder, but you can get omnidirectional, which is going to be close to that. So let's go ahead and do some sound tests. We've been doing soft speaking. I'm going to go ahead and do some whispering now. And I'm pretty far away from the mic, relatively, and I can hear myself pretty well. There's a fair bit of noise, but I think I'll be able to get rid of most of that in editing, as I usually do. But yeah, this isn't bad. One thing I do want to test is this shock mount. How much can we shake this table? That's pretty good. Now when I bump the shock mount specifically, it is pretty loud, but Not bad. I'm sure I turned a lot of that down in editing, but that wasn't too bad. Like shaking the mic stand wasn't bad. This is me literally grabbing it and shaking it. I didn't want to go too heavy, but I'll definitely, if I'm not using this microphone, I'll definitely be using this mic stand, or this shock mount if I need to. Like I said, I use the Blue Yeti for most things, including ASMR and streaming, just because it's easy. But if I ever go back to a mixing board setup, this seems like a good option. If you do already use an XLR setup, or already have some around from being a musician or something like that, then I can definitely recommend this. This is good. One of the Blue Yeti's biggest downsides is also its biggest upside, which is that it does operate through USB. That means that it's very good at what it does, but it can't really do anything else. So you can't plug it into a mixing board, for example. And that's the same for every other USB microphone. There's one that I reviewed on this channel a little while ago that was just USB, but there was no way to listen to yourself. There's something on the microphone, and because it's USB, there's no way to listen to yourself through another piece of hardware like a mixing board. So, yeah. In terms of pricing, I don't know. They did not tell me what they're going to charge for this, and I couldn't really get a good guess because it actually didn't seem like the CL8a is really available right now. I think I saw it online for $160 or $170, but it kind of seemed like there really weren't that many available, so that might be an artificially high price. I don't know. If I get that information from Samson of how much they are intending to sell this for, I will put that in the video or in the description. I'm sure they're still working on it, but I'd imagine it would be the price of these 3 items together, which I imagine would put it, if that is the real price of this microphone, I would imagine it'd be between $200 and $250, which is quite the price to pay when you also need to buy a mixing board and all of the many cables that go into that. And a mixing board, I mean, you can get that for around $50, a smaller one. Mine's a little overkill for this. It's like a band recording mixing board. But yeah, you have to keep in mind those additional costs. So my feedback as an ASMR kit would be, well, I don't have, it's not like they're going to give you a mixing board. I don't believe they make mixing boards. If they do, they could maybe do like a deluxe ASMR kit that has like a 1 or 2 channel mixing board, something cheap, and then an XLR cable and maybe a cable that goes from the board to your computer, but that's all I can think of. If you have the infrastructure already, this is cool. The stand is really